Welcome back to NASCAR Race Hub. You know, last week's news that Kasey Kahne was leaving Richard Petty Motorsports was quite the bombshell. I had the opportunity yesterday to sit down with the King in Randleman, North Carolina. Richard Petty spoke candidly about the state of NASCAR, his outlook on the future of the sport, and his thoughts about the young phenom leaving the organization.
I think he saw the circumstances not being as steady as maybe he could have somewhere else. You know, he said, okay, you know, what's my best alternative for me? I'm a 30-year-old kid, you know, looking for a lot of years in the future. Where's my future going to be the best at in 10 years from now or 5 years from now? So you can't blame him any at all. Circumstances basically beyond anybody's control.
What you did to move your race team from Level Cross, North Carolina, down to Mooresville to be in the hub so you could get more access to great people. You did everything right up to that point. Do you feel like at any given time you're just like, oh man, what do I have to do to keep this thing moving forward in a positive way?
As we started diversifying, we hit right in the middle of the economy downturn. Okay, so everybody had this all figured out, and all of a sudden they said, ooh, we ain't got the money to do this, or we can't borrow the money, or we're not going to borrow the money to go ahead and do the things that we had lined up. And then one thing come to another, and we went from Petty Enterprises over to RPM Motorsports, okay, all right? Then in the meantime, Dodge is sort of upside down, all right? So then we look around and say, okay, you know, our best situation here for Richard Petty Motorsports is go with a Ford deal. So, you know, then we get that all done, and then we think we got things kind of going, and Kasey says, okay, you know, being all this turmoil has been going on, not knowing where Richard Petty Motorsports was, he might be better off to go to some stable deal. And when you look at it that way, you can't blame him.
Would you like to have Petty Enterprises as Richard Petty? Or do you like the role that you have as being a liaison between the drivers and the teams? Is that the position you want?
Well, yeah, I guess after being here, you know, 60 years or something, working with cars and stuff, yeah, I still want to be involved, okay? I don't have the inner facilities to be down under the car doing some of the stuff you did a long time ago. And times have changed on top of that. But I still want to be involved. It's been my life since I was 11 years old. I don't know any better, I guess. I would hate to say, okay, racing, y'all go y'all's way and I'm going to go mine. I have to start my life all over again. So, yeah, I'm happy with what I'm doing, okay? You know, I would feel better if we done better, okay? But I'm going to be punching at different people, different situations, sponsors, NASCAR, you know, the race car, to try to make it better just so that I can be involved in it.
Used to be we could root for Richard Petty, you could root for Dale Inman, you could root for Dodge, or, you know, the car. You had several things that you could go to the racetrack and attach yourself to. It's just not the same.
Used to, and we keep saying this, and I don't want to beat it in the ground, but back in the old days, okay, the way it was, okay, you had Junior Johnson, he had one race car. You had Bud Moore, they had one race car. You had the Petties, they had one race car. They raced against each other. Then, over a period of time, you brought it closer and closer, and we got 5 or 6 teams on all cars. They try to beat each other, but it's a different way of beating each because they're really on a team. But if one of them was driving for Glenn Wood, one of them was driving for Bud Moore, and one of them was driving for Junior Johnson, one driving for Richard Petty, they would have been a bunch of competition amongst them, okay? So it puts a different perspective on the racing. But that's the way it is now. So we have to learn to accept that, and hopefully that we can get the fans to accept it.